The Victim Services Division of the FBI is responsible for ensuring that victims in FBI investigations get the information, assistance, and support that they're entitled to under law, but which will also help them cope with the crime and be able to cooperate more effectively with the investigation. Our mission has expanded a lot in the last 15 years. It has grown in ways that we hadn't foreseen. I remember being awakened in the middle of the night by our operations center to tell me about the shooting at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando.
I said, yeah, this is what we got: mass shooting, hostages, possible terrorist nexus.
Response was almost immediate. As soon as it happened, we deployed the entire agency, or the entire resident agency population, which included our victim witness specialist.
Once we activate our victim services response team, that team is comprised of agents, victim specialists, and analysts, and they are readily available to respond to any large-scale incidents and mass casualty cases. And what that does is that allows us to extend resources to them to meet their needs, whether that's airfare, shipment of remains, flights, storage, repairs of vehicles that were there at the club.
Our LGBTQ community, as well as our Hispanic community, were hit very, very hard by this tragedy. I think Michelle and her team helped bring this community together, was able to provide support.
Victim Services Division was amazing during the response to the Pulse nightclub terror attack. They brought a personalization to every single decision they made, not only from the experience they had from doing this before, but they looked at it in the light of how does that affect people now, given the type of club that was attacked, the type of people that were patronizing it that night. You got to personalize things when it comes to something like this.
This was a unique subset of victims in this mass casualty. These individuals having to be forced to come out, about having to disclose their HIV status, about having to be concerned about immigration issues, to be concerned about whether or not they're going to be dressed correctly as a he or a she, as a transgendered individual.
They have a skill set that police officers, cops don't necessarily have. They are able to deal with victims and their families in a way that sometimes police officers are hesitant to.
Collectively as a team, we worked for several months. Even today, 14 months later, we are still working the Pulse nightclub shooting. We receive requests from family members who still are in need of services.
I wouldn't even just say it was crucial, it was absolutely essential. One of the things I say when I give the presentation to our law enforcement partners is that of all the things I had to be concerned about during the response to the Pulse nightclub terror attack, the Victim Services Division was the one I did not have to worry about at all. Literally was a well-oiled machine. Unfortunately, it's a result of them having done this before. They integrated super well with our state and local counterparts. It was almost seamless, to the point that it was one voice, one unified front when it came to victim witness services. Couldn't be more proud of the work they did.
On July 7th, 2016, the Dallas Police Department was providing support for a protest that was occurring in downtown. Without notice, a gunman started shooting, and it became apparent the gunman was targeting police officers. The officers that we lost that day, the 5 officers, both ours and the DART officer, it was a terrible blow.
It was the first line of duty death that we've had in the department since the department's creation in 1989. Grief, shock, dismay, everyone was totally off guard. The Victim Services Unit came in right away.
I responded directly to the hospital and met with as many injured officers as I could before they were released. We also were able to pay for airfare, hotel, and car rentals for family members of the deceased officers to come in immediately.
It means a lot to us. It really does show that, although we're here in Dallas, we're not alone here in Dallas. What we saw during and after that incident was all the local agencies coming together but also we saw the FBI was there, and they were there with us.
We pray that something like this never happens again. But if it does, I want our law enforcement partners and the public to know that the FBI, along with its Victim Services Division, will be there with resources and support for them.
Being able to provide victim services in this law enforcement setting in the FBI, it benefits our investigations, it benefits the individual victims, and it benefits the communities that we serve.